The well-being of mankind, its peace and security, are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. Baha'u'llah. Speak thou no word of politics. Thy task concerneth the life of the soul, for this verily leadeth to man's joy in the world of God. Except to speak well of them, make thou no mention of the earth's kings and the worldly governments thereof. Abdul Baha. The faith with which the followers of Baha'u'llah stand identified is one which they firmly believe God has raised high above the storms, the divisions, and controversies of the political arena. Their faith they conceive to be essentially non-political and entirely disassociated from nationalistic ambitions, pursuits, and purposes. Such a faith knows no division of class or of party. It subordinates, without hesitation or equivocation, every particularistic interest, be it personal, regional, or national, to the paramount interests of humanity. Firmly convinced that in a world of interdependent peoples and nations, the advantage of the part is best to be reached by the advantage of the whole, and that no abiding benefit can be conferred upon the component parts if the general interests of the entity itself are ignored or neglected. Shoghi Effendi. So now I'll introduce our speaker for today, and a reminder to save all your questions until after the talk when we'll have our Q&A portion. And if you're new to the Baha'i Faith, or if you'd like to be added to our mailing list, you can fill out the Google form that I'll put in the chat and the YouTube description box. Our speaker this week is Dr. Habib Riazati, and his topic is the Baha'i principle of non-involvement in partisan politics. Alex Habib Riazati has been a scientist and strategist at Boeing Defense Integrated Systems for the last 38 years. He has also been a psychotherapist with a PhD in clinical psychology for the past 17 years, with a private practice called Integrative Counseling LLC. He is the founder of the Human in the Making Foundation, a nonprofit organization aiming at motivating and empowering the individuals to actualize their hidden noble potentials, enriching families and communities, and enabling them to develop social interests, offer unconditional services to their fellow humans, and continuously engage in abolishing human rights violations and abuses. Moreover, he is the coordinator of the Ocean of Light's website, the repository of the Baha'i writings categorized based on tablets and primary scholarly sources. He is also the author of 3 volumes of work on fundamental verities and progressive revelation, and is the program director of the television program Danish Binesh Azadi. And with that, I'll hand it off to Dr. Riazati.
Topic is known to most, if not all of the Baha'is. And for those of you who are not a Baha'i, also this topic of non-involvement in a partisan politics is not something new, and I hear from many people from diverse backgrounds that they know the wisdom of why we should not interfere in such a divisive system of thinking or politics. I need not to emphasize how important this principle is. In fact, the supreme body of the Baha'i Faith that is known as the Universal Laws of Justice has over and over emphasized the different national spiritual assemblies have underlined the importance and application and implication of not understanding or getting involved in a partisan politics. Noteworthy among them is the letter released by US NSA in June 16, means few days ago, and also reference to December 1st, 2019 by the House of Justice is very much practical letters to understand the application and implication of this principle. I want to give you some fundamentals of the Baha'i faith that would not allow for such a involvement, that you would not think that this principle is based on emotional or irrational understanding. Do you know, for the saving time and the shortage of time, as I was getting up, I listed about 12 points that I want to share with you. But first, I list them with a small description, then I can link them together. You know that the cornerstone of the Baha'i faith is unity of humankind and oneness of humankind. In fact, Shoghi Effendi, the successor of Abdul Baha, successor of Baha'u'llah, emphasizes in the Volume of Baha'u'llah the 7 letters that comprise that volume. Over and over states that oneness of humankind is the pivot around which all the revelation of Baha'u'llah evolves. That in itself can tell you that no matter you are Persian, Arab, Israeli, American, white, black, male, female, this is not the concern of Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah considers those attributes as a natural geographical attributes, but what makes us to be human is what Baha'u'llah is after. And our humanness is common. So oneness of humanity, when you believe in that, then the second principle comes into mind, and that is a system view that Baha'i faith has about the whole reality and humankind in particular. System view, as you know, for those of you who are in the field of psychology, in the field of science, I recommend reading Alfred North Whitehead, Process and Reality, for those of you who want to correlate religion and science, that the whole existence is a system. And this system is comprised of parts, elements. And all these elements have relationship with each other. And this relationship is natural, necessary, logical, and cohesive. That is to say that the whole cosmos is a system. Now you come down, you will see the implication of that thinking is that animal kingdom, mineral kingdom, and all the other known or unknown parts of this universe, in fact, are in relationship with the other parts. What is the implication? Implication is that if you do something to one part, it impacts the whole system. You sometimes hear this very famous statement of Krishna that is known in the West as karma. Karma simply means cause and effect. Karma simply means that anything that you do to one person, it impacts the rest, and then it comes back to you as a result. So the system view is very much is at the heart of the revelation of Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah in tablets such as the Surah Heichal, Tablet of Temple, translated into English in the first tablet in Summons of the Lord of Hosts, you can see that the whole world is considered like one temple, and each part is connected to another part. So when you combine these twin principles, oneness of humanity and the system view, then you appreciate that the pain to one person is the pain to the whole world. No wonder when Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, when he states in Quran, if you kill one person, it is like you have killed the whole world. Of course, in the terms of principle, this is nothing but the system view. Or you can see in Iran, the Book of Certitude of Baha'u'llah, when he talks about when you sadden one person, you can sadden the whole world. And even Baha'u'llah emphasizes these harmonious relationship that exists between all the elements of the universe, but in particular, you, as a human being, you have to pay note of it. Another very, very, very important principle that now we see in religion and in psychology is the power of words, letters, word. Do you know Baha'u'llah in Tablet of Maqsood, revealed after the Kitab Aqdas, available in English as well. It says one word is like a light, another word is like a fire, and the impact of both can become apparent. It is very, very important. Therefore, the words that we utter has to be very wise. It has to be measured. Measured means we consider its impact and then ask yourself, does it really help the construction of the world and unites the heart of people or not? This is why in the Bahá'í Faith even backbiting is forbidden. Why? Because it actually quenches the light of the soul and the mind and so forth. So the power of the words is very, very important. And you already can, because you are very, very intelligent people, you know that if you combine the oneness of humanity as a principle and consider that the whole world are interconnected with each other, and you also note that even word has a power. Why it has a power? Because word actually expresses your feelings, and your feelings derives from your thoughts, and your thoughts derives from your belief system. And this is now become very, very important, that if we say something, whether repeated to our own selves or to somebody else or in the media, then it shows how do we think actually. And you know very well that actually in psychology today, Jungian psychology, it says whatever you say, it has some roots in your unconscious. unresolved issues. Therefore, if you are angry at something, if you react to something, you have to ask yourself, what are the roots of it? That is on one side of psychology that I use a lot. Another one is cognitive behavioral, that whatever you say, if somebody says, don't say that anymore, and you say, okay, I promise. But psychologist tells you, do not make a false promise, because it's not what you say, is actually comes back from how you think. How you think creates your feelings and shapes your behaviors. Now, when you look at it in the context of what we are talking about, is that our belief system makes us to form certain thoughts. And when your belief system is oneness of humanity, then your thought patterns should reflect that belief system. Why? Because how can you be the follower of war? How can you have prejudice, regardless of its type and nature? How can you feel that you are exalted above somebody else? All of these things stems from the belief system of oneness of humanity. That is one very important point that I would like to emphasize. Another thing within the same principle is that if you ask yourself whether you're a Baha'i, non-Baha'i, what does Baha'i means anyway? Well, Baha'i means I'm a follower of Baha'u'llah. Well, that doesn't cut it really. You have to go further for me to understand, for you to understand. When you see Baha'u'llah himself wants to define, you may not believe that Mirza Hussein Ali Nuri, the temple, physical temple, in which Baha'u'llah reflects from that temple, in a tablet which is very, very touching, at least for me. It is in original, appears in a compilation called Ishraqat, page 40. Exact passage has not been translated to my knowledge. It says, my aim, my ultimate aim is to be a human, to be an insan, human. He says, if I'm human, then that I have reached my ultimate goal. Mirza Hussein Ali says that. He says that, yes, other stations that I have, they are all praiseworthy, but they are higher than anything that you can imagine. But we have to be human. Then you see Abdul Baha Abbas, the son of Baha'u'llah. He says to be a Baha'i means to have human qualities, human attributes. Baha'i yani jame jami kamalat insani. But we cannot be a Baha'i fully. So Baha'i, yes, it starts with the notion of being a follower of Baha'u'llah. But we have to go further. And when you go further, at the heart of it is oneness of humanity. And we want to be human. And you cannot be human if, according to Baha'u'llah, you exalt yourself above somebody else. If you wish ill and evil for somebody else, you know Baha'u'llah does not believe in the existence of evil, but the absence of a praiseworthy character. So that is very, very important to point that the goal of Baha'u'llah and the root cause of all the problems from Baha'u'llah's standpoint of view is that we have forgotten what does humanism mean. And we have forgotten that the goal of religion and science and everything that we acquire is to be a better human. We are not here to be a psychologist, to be a scientist, to be a lawyer, to be a doctor. We are trying to be a better human being because if you are a lawyer, you are serving humanity in a way that you can bring peace, justice to their life, the individual peace and a collective peace. Do you see that? So all goes around a human. This is why they say religion is a means, not the end. That is one another point to consider. The next thing is that Baha'is usually say there is a justice, there is a peace, there is a unity. We want to create a world peace. Well, that's very good. Everybody who has a little bit of insight wants to see a world peace. But tell me, can peace and justice and unity of humankind be thought of as a separate phenomena? Can you create justice if you do not consider somebody else who is different from you as a human, who has a right to life like you do? Please pay attention. This is why there is a wisdom that there is two words in the Baha'i writings, fairness, justice, equity. Do you know in Hindenburg's Arabic, number 2, when he says the beloved of all things in my sight is justice, you know that he's talking here and Saf, which goes to individual. He says, see things with your own eye, hear things with your own ear. And then Baha'u'llah says, remember, he tells me and he tells every other individual, but I have to only concern myself. Habib, remember, that is my finest gift to you, that you have to see with your own eye. You have to feel it with your own heart. And now when I feel the oneness of humanity of Baha'u'llah, when I feel the wisdom of system view, the impact of the words that Baha'u'llah in Iran, he says, Habib, if you say one word, you can put the world in fire. And the impact of that word might stay for centuries. Read Iran. But when you read these texts, look at its application. Look at its implication. This is why Baha'u'llah in Iran talks about the fire, ordinary fire, burns and goes away. But the words and its impact, regardless of your intention, may last for centuries. Please note, this is why the Universal House of Justice, this is why the National Spiritual Assemblies say, Habib, if you go on media, if you write something, if you express feelings, ask yourself, are you actually upholding the principle that you claim that you believe in? You really believe in the oneness of humanity? What does politics mean? Is the politics in a positive sense means the wise using wisdom to operate in a way that helps humankind? And if it helps humankind, naturally it helps every country that they are honored to serve. Just see. So the partisan politics, when you say partisan, that already violates very much of fundamental principles. that we voluntarily have accepted. You know that in the Bahá'í Faith, you voluntarily come in, you voluntarily can go. But when you are in, don't you think we have to uphold the principles that we have accepted with our heart and love? Now, another one is a very important principle in the Bahá'í Faith. End doesn't justify the means. If your end is good and healthy and happy, but if the way that you want to reach to that end is unhealthy, inhuman, Bahá'í Faith doesn't accept it and shouldn't accept it. Forget about the Bahá'í Faith. If you consider the whole world to be one country and mankind is citizen, can you enter in something that creates division amongst them? We should not be emotional and do not let emotion carries over. We have to center our emotion with our belief system, with our manner that helps humankind. Calamities are always bad, but in appearance is bad. We have to help humanity to reduce calamity or abolish it, but we cannot reduce it by being a part of calamity itself to increase more calamity for humankind. If the people are suffering, we should do all we can to eliminate their sufferings by being human, not because they are Russian or Israeli or Persian or Arab. No, they are human first. These boundaries are man-made boundaries, but there is one boundary that distinguishes us from animals, from minerals, and that is the claim that we are human. The end doesn't justify the means is very important, our dear friend, to understand the Baha'i perspective on politics, that we do not want peace through corruption. We do not want order through means of disorder. We believe that reality, objective reality, is achievable step by step in terms of process, but it requires integrity, and the most important thing is to be holistic. Look at another thing that I believe I mentioned, military. How does Baha'i Faith looks at military? Look at it. Tablet to Queen Victoria. Why do you have military? In order to safeguard, Baha'u'llah says. But again, remember, don't look at it in terms of military. Do not look at it in terms of economy. No. Look at it in terms of humanism. Then the whole thing changes. Baha'u'llah to the Queen Victoria. You read the whole tablet. It is in Summons of the Lord of Hosts. It says, do you know, the purpose of military should be to safeguard the country and safeguard the whole world. Oh, how is that? Safeguard the country of what? Of disorder, of corruption. But also, does not forget, O king or ruler, that you are human. That although you are Israeli or Persian or Arab, you are human. And therefore, if one country tries to do injustice to somebody else, then the whole world have to be united, not to abolish that country that creates the disorder. No, to guard it against disorder. Look at these doctrines. Baha'u'llah's political doctrine, ladies and gentlemen, needs to be studied, needs to be analyzed. These are not the task of scholars. I do not like these word scholars when they want to give a special responsibility or honor to a certain group. No, each one of us, as a follower of a system, theology, ideology, we need to know what that system is saying. Now, Baha'u'llah has many tablets on politics. We should read them. Summons of the Lord of Hosts. Read the Treatise on Politics by Abdul Baha. Read Secret of Divine Civilization by Abdul Baha. Then you realize that there is only one politics that we are after. Politic of righteousness. This is why Baha'u'llah tries to, at all levels, bring that awareness to humankind. Now, how does he do it? Should I go on Facebook, put a post, take a side? No. Holistic education. Baha'u'llah believes the people need to be educated. Education which is sound, unbiased, and centers humankind as a whole. Read Secret of Divine Civilization. Also, remember, all these problems is because of immaturity of humankind. Look at some of the tablets that links maturity to the kingship, to being a prime minister. Look at Louis Salman. He says one of the signs of maturity of humankind is that the seat of power is vacant and no one dare to approach it. Saltanat bemaunat va hadi iqbal nakonat. What do you mean, Baha'u'llah? He says, I mean the person who accepts that seat, that is a seat of service, that is a seat of service to the humanity and to the inhabitant of that country, is not the seat of control, autocracy, is not fascism, is the seat of compassion, but at the same time, rules and order. I am not trying to suggest anything, but ask yourself, do you know of any country, any ruler that meets that qualification that we require as a human, that Baha'u'llah outlines in Loh Salman and in other tablets? Baha'u'llah, in order to solve it, he says, but there is another sign of maturity also, though. What is a sign of maturity of humankind? It's very interesting. He says the discovery of a divine elixir. What? He says if humankind discovers something that if you touch anything with it, it turns into gold. Oh my God, what a good, it is a crypto corporation or what is it? Baha'u'llah is after what? He has so many tablets that he says one of the meaning of these elixirs is the Word of God. Word of God? Habib, are you now suggesting I have to be religious? No, 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 no. Word of God means that word which is holistic. Please pay attention to John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, it was Word. Word was with God. Word was God. And Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Word here has many, many implications. نقطه، حرف، کلمه. All of these things brings me to concluding remarks. You tell me, ask yourself, when you consider your emotions, when you have an urge to go on the social media, because that is the only way that the people these days connect, it seems, and you write something, ask yourself if you are a Baha'i, and forget about if you are a Baha'i, if you are a human, if you believe in a oneness of humanity, if you believe that every word, every text, written or verbal, has an impact, it creates energy. And then ask yourself, does this text message really helps a spreading of the oneness of humanity? Because these things all shall pass, my friends. All these wars come to end, Baha'u'llah states. But there is only one thing that you and I will learn: how this occasion created an opportunity for Habib to know where he stands, for you to know where you stand. What does really covenant mean? The people think covenant means believe in this, believe in that. I don't believe in this. No. Covenant, whether you are a Baha'i or non-Baha'i today, means to do that which helps the well-being of humankind. That the humanity reaches to the point that the Israeli is as precious as a Persian or an Arab. If one person dies in one part of the world, it is like my own family has suffered. This mindset, ladies and gentlemen, has made this principle of non-involvement in a partisan politics. Please pay attention to the word partisan politics. You cannot take sides. Why? I do not. I am not a political scholar. But you just read New York Times, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times, and then you see there are not two sources that agree on the same thing at the same time. How do you want to take side? Read all these things, but try to be proactive about the principle of oneness of humanity. And do it because you have love for humanity. Yes, do it because you are a Baha'i, because you're upholding the principle of Baha'u'llah. But go above it and beyond it. Do it because you are human. Then you will see that actually, through this education, transformation, you will come to the state that you choose a better society. And the last word or statement that I make, again, stems from Baha'i writings. Look at it. All the leaders really are the problems in this world. All the clergies. It is obvious. With such an emotion and very, very, very one-side thinking, you have a divisive emotion. This has to go, that has to go, he has to come. But Baha'u'llah doesn't look at it like that. Baha'u'llah says the root cause is the education of the community that elects the leaders. This is why individual transformation, individual enlightenment actually has to yield to a better society, and then better society, more comprehensive society. Then, according to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he says, then the rule of wisdom, khrat, actually operates. Khrat, wisdom, which combined with compassion, then causes us to elect the people who reflect the principle of oneness of humanity. So as you can see, in an ideal society, individual, community, and the ruling administrations, regardless of which party, then you will see they have to work together. You will see that according to Baha'u'llah, then there is no red, there is no blue, there is no Democrat, there is no Republican, because we are all one. It doesn't matter who comes to power. He has to be at the service of all. All, of course, naturally means my own country. But yes, but the good of your country cannot be established unless you consider the good of the world. These very sensitive points that I mentioned, if you combine it together, you truly appreciate the messages of your NSA, National Special Assemblies, and most importantly, the Universal House of Justice, who is in charge of the integrity of the Baha'i faith and protection of the followers of Baha'u'llah from doing things, saying things that are not really in the belief system that Baha'u'llah, the person who sacrificed his life in order for the oneness of humanity comes to light, to be violated. I am sorry if I went beyond my limit, but I am at your service.
Thank you so much, Dr. Riazati. I think this is a very important topic, especially right now. A first question asks, can you clarify how the principle of non-involvement in partisan politics differs from disengagement from public affairs altogether?
Beautiful. Well, let's see, I am a Persian version. I do not know English very well, so you have to help me. See, my friend, Baha'u'llah doesn't want me to get away from public affairs. In fact, Lohe Dunya, tablet of the world. See, everything that you say or I say, especially in the public discourse, we have to go to the source. What is the source? Baha'u'llah. After Baha'u'llah, if I don't understand that, Abdul Baha, and so forth. Be in the world, but not be of the world. Baha'u'llah. در دنیا باشید ولکن از آن دنیا مباشید. Baha'i is not the person who goes into seclusion. Detachment doesn't mean not having it. Detachment means having it. Have material things, but know how to use it in the service of humanity. So as you can see, bayan, the question, the first part is, we all have to be involved in the public affairs because we are human. Don't forget, human. Aristotle, he says, hey, Habib, you are alive because of relationship. This is why. He said, never forget, relationship is the basis for all of our goodness and all of our ills that we experience. This is why, as a psychotherapist, the root cause of all of our disorders actually is when we do not have adequate, satisfying, and productive relationship. Baha'u'llah wants us to have relationship, but Baha'u'llah doesn't want us to engage, please pay attention, partisan politics, to engage in something that causes division, causes one person to feel better than others. In fact, he has a tablet called Lohe Tahat, Tablet of Unity. He says whenever the word better comes to mind, nothing but disunity can stem from it. In another tablet, he says, if a person or a community find himself or feel himself to be better, more understanding, more knowledgeable than others, he says this is a very unforgivable sin. Why? Because he says when you feel you are better, you actually create division. Psychologists, has to tell the fact. You feel better because you inside of yourself, you feel low. This is why narcissism actually, it's one of its root causes is because the person inside is empty, doesn't have any meaning. So as you can see, beyond these two do not contradict one another. Detachment doesn't mean not having it. Detachment doesn't mean, see, I live in around Los Angeles. Los Angeles, New York. Should we detach? We have to go to the North Pole, somewhere over there. No technology, no internet. Is this called detachment really? Or escape? What do you mean by the be in Los Angeles but not be affected by Los Angeles? Divisions. As you can see, Baha'u'llah's statements should be taken as a symphony, as a system. You have to correlate it together. You have to have dialogue about it. You have to go with the people who do not believe in the Bahá'í Faith and say, let's have a meaningful conversation about it. What does non-interference in politics mean? Means that you don't care? No, we care. But we do not want to find an easy answer to anything. We want to go after an answer, not the apparent of an answer. We believe the problem of humanity is that they have lost the value of their spiritual side of existence. Don't you think that is a higher vision? As you can see, in answer to your question, no, on one hand, we have to be more active. We should not be passive. We should not be defensive. We should not be aggressive. We should be assertive. We should be mindful. We should not sleep at night when somebody who We may even do not know, cannot sleep, let alone gets hurt, let alone dies. Do you see that? So I hope you can make that link. Bayan, go for
Thank
it.
you. The next question is, what are some examples of the exigencies of this day that are nonpartisan?
Oh, that's the good one, see? Now I made you to ask a good question. But see, I'm a simple guy. My last name means Riazati, means works hard but doesn't get anywhere. But see, my friend, the need is to be human. To be a Baha'i means human. To be honest, have your heart to be filled with love for everyone, unconditional love. You may not believe it. Have discussion, have dialogues. If you're a Baha'i, think about some of the directives of the Universal House of Justice. See, these are things that you can do. One of the major components of their directive is to associate. The same thing, I have not found one thing in the letters of the Universal House of Justice since 1963 until today that does not reiterate what Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha have said. By God, I actually have made a table of these letters and the sources. Baha'u'llah says, get involved, have dialogue. You do not have that dialogue to make anybody Baha'i or a Christian. No, have a dialogue. Learn from each other. Culture of learning. Let's have prayer meetings. Prayer meeting doesn't mean, oh, I am a religious. No. No, you can have a person who doesn't believe in God the way that you do to have prayer. Prayer means, psychologists, reaching beyond your own limited self. This prayer in this context does not have any religious connotation. Albert Einstein, he says, prayer simply means from limited view to get into the wider, higher, more holistic view. Do you see that? So prayer meetings, that when you come together, do not just read the words. Please pay attention. Oh, I did the duty. I read my prayer. No, 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 no. Don't play with yourself. Reflect, meditate, and then test yourself. Go in with the people who oppose you in your thinking and try to learn from them. Concentrate on humanistic part of your being. If you are an engineer, if you are a scientist, if you are a lawyer, go there with the virtue of being a servant to one another. Then you see that you actually make the biggest difference beyond. That is to say, this world provides opportunity for us to know ourselves. No wonder Baha'u'llah says, calamity is providence. Outwardly is fire. Inwardly is light. Do you see light in it? Oh, I see light. Do you know, I know after a while, the people all become Christian or a Baha'i or a Muslim. No, my friend, you didn't see the light again. You are after conversion to your ideology. No, you see the light when you say that, yes, humanity has come to understanding, albeit unfortunate experiences has caused it. But the point is that they understand that nothing is more valuable than to center around being human, being understanding. And the last word is, do not act emotionally in any case. If you are in relationship, you know when you acted emotionally, you pay for it, my friend. But if you combine emotion with your cognitive ability, your value system, you can see that there is a value in being silent sometimes. Just be an observer. You do not need to talk. Reflect. Even if you reflect, you will impact the whole world because through your thoughts, you spread the positive energy. I hope in a short sentence I responded to a big question.
Thank you. Your bio indicated you have worked for Boeing for 38 years. How are you able to bring Baha'i principles into your professional life?
Okay. See, professional. What is professional life, my friend? Profession means avenue of service, right? You are a carpenter. You are a doctor. Well, I am a scientist to make a better satellites for humankind to connect, to create a better means for travel. During more than 38, 39 years, I was always a part of the project which helped humankind to get connected better, smoother. I share one which is non-classified, that you know how I use psychological value, a spiritual value into the profession. We knew since 20 years ago that humankind needs to be connected through means of connections. We actually have been thinking that to create a hub that in the universe, that everybody at any part of the earth have an access to some kind of communication devices. Please pay attention. It's a spiritual concept, but it is manifested through technology. Of course, some of these attempts fails. Why? Because self-interest group comes in, financial, economical, better word. But we never give up. I can tell you that during these last 39 years, I have worked with competent individuals, Arabs, Persians, Israelis, American, Ethiopian, that showed me how close and connected we are as a scientist to create a better world. All of us in these groups believed that unless we agree that the world is but one country and mankind is its citizen, these means cannot help us. So as you can see, Bayan, in every profession, we can be of service to humanity. And I have been privileged that I could be of service to Boeing company that in some aspect created a very, very effective means of communication.
Thank you. Another question asks, can I not express my displeasure with the building of military weaponry and warring for the financial increase of certain men?
Well, of course that we have freedom of thoughts. we have, and this is again by Abdul Baha Abbas. He says, yes, we have freedom, because what is the value of humanity if it doesn't have a freedom of thoughts? But that is not the issue. The issue is that action, expression of that thoughts. How can we reduce, that has been one of the objectives that I have had as a scientist and psychologist. How can we prevent the buildup of the military in the universe, arms race, that now we have come to clash, that the people who themselves are lecturing others, they themselves are committing the same thing that others are doing or are accused of doing. So what is my role? My role is, why do you need military, Bayan? Why do you need gun if you have gun at your home? Why? Because you feel the world is peaceful, this is why you bought a gun? Well, my friend, if you bought ice cream, that was more useful than a gun, because gun at your home can hurt you, your family, and others. So Baha'u'llah again, he says, look at the root cause, Habib. Don't be superficial. What do you mean? He says, fear is the basis for these aggressions. Fear, destruction, insecurity has caused the world to tremble. So what do I do? Whenever you see an opportunity, create an enlightenment in the community, and little by little create and increase love, compassion, understanding through consultation, and let the society becomes more enabled, empowered, and then their fear will be eliminated. And when there is no fear, there is no need for aggression. There is no need for building that which destroys. Instead of that, as Baha'u'llah says so beautifully, isn't that better that we spend these resources on a better society? Look at Secret of Divine Civilization. You get the answer. The people have fear. This is why they are depressed. They feel oppressed. They feel suppressed. And then they do not have enough skills or defense mechanism. This is why aggression has become the defense mechanism against insanity. But they don't realize that it increases their insanity, their divisiveness. So as you can see, Bayan, there is always a chance to be constructive. But we today need social awareness. The problem, in my humble opinion as a psychologist, is that we fully ourselves even do not understand what are the real issues and what are the real solutions. We think by making some people to change their ideology, but not their heart or mind, they can make transformation. No. This is why, see, I quote again Baha'u'llah. And the reason I quote Baha'u'llah is because this is about Baha'i perspective. But I believe that every enlightened thinker, visionary, shares the same thing that Baha'u'llah has uttered over 200 years ago. And that is the fact that humanity is suffering from lack of knowledge, true knowledge, knowledge of self, knowledge of purpose, has lost meaning. It is very interesting. The people have lost meaning in life. This is why they have aggression. They even do not love their own selves. And even if they love, they do not understand the difference between loving oneself and to be egotistical. So as you can see, there are a large number of opportunities that helps us to leave these political affairs to those leaders, and we get involved in a higher politics. Politics means what? Politics means wisdom. Politics has a negative connotation and a positive connotation. Plato in Republic make this distinction that politics means find the ways to govern to meet the objectives of the governance, which is service. Plato at that time said the people have to be wise in order to elect the wise representative. We need to change that, the leader change. We have to accept responsibility for the well-being of humankind as a whole. I underline as a whole that the leaders come to their knees. But if you want to think about this country or that country, this party or that party, you cannot resolve anything. And that is the call of Baha'u'llah, which is echoed in the letters of the Baha'i institutions that are in charge of serving humanity, and in particular, Baha'i community.
Thank you. Our next question asks, what would you say to someone who feels that non-involvement in politics is a privilege, something only those who are not directly oppressed can afford?
No. My best friend. See, no. Non-involvement in politics, partisan politics, because you are involving yourself in politics anyway when you get up. Please pay attention. See, I'm trying to be very balanced in my presentation. It says, do not get involved in a partisan politics. What does it mean? Doesn't mean that do not care about what these leaders are doing. Do not care about what's happening in the other side of the world. What do you mean? They call you human? They call you enlightened? No, you may not believe it. I get sick if one day I get up and I do not read the news from at least 10 different sources that are opposing one another. Please pay attention. I don't go after the one that yes, bah. No. But it is not what I read. It is how I react to that reading. I want to be constructive. I want to be a part of disruption. I want to be holistic. I want to help others to become enabled, or I should take side. Whether you are a poor, you are a rich, because you are human, you have responsibility. The problem, my friends, is that we react. Reaction is not good. In your personal life is not good. In your public life is not good. In your professional life is not good. This is why you need to reflect, meditate, reflect, and then act. Act when you are able to frame that act in the coordinated system of the principles that some of which I outlined for you. Then you see whether you are poor, you are rich. You have that responsibility to respond affirmatively, holistically, and without taking any sides. You are on one side, the side of humanity, the side of even if the person kills, we are not there to kill. We need to help him. We need to constrain him. This is why Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha, he says, rather than avoid it, involve, but don't be a part of it. Be in the world, but not be off the world. We sometimes do not have a meaningful conversation. Look at your friends when you get together. How is the weather? How was your weekend? Okay, hey, you bought a new car. What a beautiful car. This is your third car or the 10th car? What do you expect the result be if all of your conversation is confined to the physical, material? How many of you have seen people and get together from diverse background, diverse political party, and they say, let's put it on the table without taking a side. We just think about the betterment of the world. And don't you think that scenario will change? So no, Bayan Jan. These principles doesn't need the poor people to be passive, silent. All of us need to rise with compassion, with understanding, with following the principle of oneness of humanity. And remember, the people, whether Israeli, whether Iranian, whether American, go to the root cause is fear. Please pay attention. Is fear. Psychologist Freud, he said, it's fear that has caused all of these disorders. And he is right. He is right. The fear has caused oppression, suppression, and defense. Baha'u'llah, Einstein, Gandhi. Can we work on love? Please pay attention. Baha'u'llah's methodology might be slow, but it is constructive and everlasting. So as you can see, Bayan, we all have to be involved, regardless of our rank, station, and political views. We have to have one policy of serving humanity and adopting those laws and principles that nourish our innermost being, which is only manifests itself through love, not fear. Fear causes dependency. Fear causes aggression. Fear causes lie, cheats, deceits. Baha'u'llah says, this is why end doesn't justify the means. Please pay attention. Those who feel by war, by trying to change things militarily, they achieve peace. They do not understand humanism. It is people, it is individual that have to come to the realization to learn from their past and create a better future. I end with this passage of Baha'u'llah and with the unfortunate passage from Hegel. Baha'u'llah says, past is a mirror for the future. You look at it, you analyze it, you learn from it, and you hope that you utilize that learning in your future thinking and practice. It is in Tablet of the World. Hegel, he says, well, there is something that we learn from history, and that is that we have never really learned anything from history. So try to somehow combine these two statements, one by Hegel, the student of Immanuel Kant, and the primary teacher philosophically of Karl Marx, and from Baha'u'llah, a manifestation for today's need of humanity, and then you can see how both of those statements are actually correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Riazati. It looks like that's all of our time for questions, but I want to thank you again for joining us today and talking on this very timely issue. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be of your service, and I wish you a very happy day. Take care.
So our speaker next week is going to be Mr. Jason Heiner, and his topic will be, is religion the problem or the solution to heal the world? And again, these talks are every Saturday at noon Eastern Time, so you can invite your friends and family to join. And if you're new to the Baha'i Faith, or if you'd like to be added to our mailing list, you can fill out the Google form that I will put in the chat below and the YouTube description box. Have a great week, everyone. Hope to see you all next Saturday. Bye.